We're going to do a instructional video on the slope formula. And the learning goal is to use the slope formula to compute slope, steepness, and direction. And direction is a positive slope, a negative slope, the zero slope, and the undefined slope. Okay, so we're going to work on that today. Now, the slope formula itself, let's go over it first, is y2 minus y1. So the y's, I'm going to make green. And the x's, I'm going to make red. So it's kind of like a little bit like the holidays. Okay? So, again, the positive, which M stands for slope. Okay? And this is the formula to calculate slope from 2 points. So positive, remember, slants to the right. Negative slants to the left. And steepness just is talking about how it slants either left to the right. So this is an absolute value. So it's just giving us a specific number. It's not saying if it's positive or negative. Okay, so first we have our two numbers here, 5, 2, 0, 0. So we know that the y's are the second set of digits because remember, coordinates are x, y. Okay? So the formula says that we take y2 minus y1. So what we do, and it really doesn't matter which way you measure, which way you label these, because you will get the same answer. But know that this is x2, y2 for this particular example, and this is x1, y1. So we're going to take y2, which is 2, and we're going to take y1, which is 0, and then we're going to divide it by x2, which is 5, and x1, which is 0. So just so that you know, the 2 is here, and the 0 is here, and the 5 is here, and the 0 is here. So again, this is y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So 2 minus 0 is 2, and 5 minus 0 is 5. So the slope is 2 over 5. There's no negatives here, so the direction is positive. And the steepness, and remember it's positive, but even if there was a negative here, it would be 2, 5, absolute value. Or if you divided 2 by 5, if you want to put it in decimal, it would be 0.4. Okay? So M equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And we do the arithmetic straight across. This was a positive, which means it slants this way. And then the steepness is the slope in a absolute value form. So it's either 2.5 or 0.4. Okay? So the next one we're going to do, and we're going to do x2, y2, x1, y2. The formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And again, the green, we're going to make 4 and negative 2. And the x values are 0 and 4. So we have y2 is 4 minus 2 minus negative 2. So we go minus negative 2. Okay? Then we are going to do x2, which is 0, minus 4. So remember when you have 4 minus negative, this becomes a positive sign. So 4 plus 2 is 6. And 0 minus 4 is negative 4, okay? And the direction, since this is negative, is a negative number, the slope would be negative, and it would be slanted to the left, okay? The steepness, even though it has a negative number, we're doing the absolute value, so it would be 6 over 4, which equals 1.5, okay? Now again, the 4 and the 2 were the y coordinates, and the 0 and the 4 were the x coordinates, okay? Now the last one on this page, and this one's going to be a little bit different, is we're going to have x2, y2, x1, y1, and we're going to go m equals y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. And I think it's a good idea to write the whole formula. I know I didn't do it at the first one because I was showing you how to plug it in with the different values. But if you keep the whole formula, it makes things easier for you in the long run. So we know that these are the y values, and these are the x values. So we're going to go y2 is 0, y1 is 0, and then we have x2 is negative 1 minus 2. So 0 minus 0 is 0. Negative 1, negative 2 is negative 3. The direction is horizontal, which also happens to be 0 slope, okay? And the steepness is 0, so you're just going to say 0, okay? So again, the 2 and the negative 1 are the x values, and the 0 and the 0 are the y values, okay? So what I'm going to do now is go over the definitions a little bit, because when we say the change over y, change over x, this delta sign, it means change in. The slope formula works with any 2 points on a line, so that's what we've been using. And the coordinates are those two sets of numbers, the x and the y, okay? And that locates a position. So these are the x, y, okay? So we are going to stop for a minute. Then I would like you to try these two on your own, and I will be back shortly so you can check your work. Okay, now let's check the back page, and hopefully you've understood it. Now what I went ahead and I color-coded the y and the x's. I labeled them x1, y1, x2, y2 for all three. So you can see the red and the green, okay? So we have the formula up here, y2 equals y1, x2 equals divided by x2 divided by x1. All right, so we are going to, again, I am going to write the formula just because it really does help you. So we're going to take y2 is negative 3 and y1 is negative 2. And then we're going to take x2 is negative 3 and we're going to do x1 is negative 1. So we get negative 5 over negative 4. Now, remember when you divide two negatives, you get a positive. So this becomes 5 over 4, which the decimal is 1.25. Since this is a positive number, it has a positive direction, and the steepness, the absolute value, is 5 over 4 equals 1.25. And remember, the brackets need to be there so we know it's the absolute value, okay? Now the next one And remember, you can pause it and take notes. So the formula is y2 minus 1, x2 minus x1. It's really important you label these first because it really helps you plug the right numbers in. So we have 2 minus 3, 2 minus 3, x2 is 3, and x1 is 0. So this becomes negative 1 over 3, which becomes negative 0.33 with the unending 3. Okay, that's what that little line above means. Now, because this is negative, this has a negative direction, and the steepness is either 1/3 equals 0.33. Okay, and also when you look at steepness, it's the absolute value is the actual number away from 0. So if this is 1, 2, 3, this is negative, and this is 1, 2, 3 positive, and this is 0. If it's here or if it's here, they're both 3 points away from 0. So that's why we're calling it absolute value. Sorry, I can't talk. Absolute value. Okay? And then the last one equals y2 minus y1. x2 minus x1 equals y2 is minus 1, y1 is minus 5. So remember, minus negative 5. Remember to put the extra negative sign there. x2 is negative 4, and x1 is subtract negative 5. So what we have to do is minus plus 5. So this would become 5 minus 1, which is 4. And then negative 4, subtract negative 5 becomes, when you have two subtraction, it becomes positive. So it becomes 1 minus 1 plus 5. Yep, I just want to make sure I'm doing the math right. And then, so this becomes 4 over 1. So it's 4. This is a positive direction. And the steepness would be absolute number of 4. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for doing the work.